Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
There is nothing better than spring training baseball under the lights from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. The Yankees are loaded at the top of the lineup tonight. DJ LeMahieu will lead off, taking his swings. Gleyber Torres, he's going to bat second tonight. He's also going to play second base. And Anthony Rizzo, back after all of those injuries in the second half of last year, he will be batting third in that Yankee lineup. It's time for New York Yankees baseball. It's going to be the Miami Marlins against the New York Yankees from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Beautiful night for baseball and a beautiful night for Alex Verdugo, one of the newest Yankees taking his swings in the cage. We know he is a doubles machine, 108 of those doubles the last 3 years. That is fourth most in the American League. He's going to be playing left field for the Yankees tonight. And out on the mound, the young right-hander Clayton Beeter, trying to make an impression on that Yankee coaching staff. We're going to have lineups. We're going to have baseball. We're going to have first pitch right here on Yes. A beautiful night for baseball in Tampa, Florida. The New York Yankees getting ready, anticipating first pitch. John Flaherty and Jack Curry with you here. We'll bring you the ball game tonight as Clayton Beeter done with his warm-up tosses, making his way into that Yankee dugout. Aaron Judge is a spectator tonight, able to take a couple of photographs, enjoy the night off, and look forward to his next spring training action. Here's a look at Clayton Beeter behind the mound, going through his warm-up tosses, a young right-hander trying to make an impression on this coaching staff, Jack.
At 25 years old, he's the pitcher who was acquired in the Joey Gallo trade the Yankees made.
Well, Beeter's going to get a look at this lineup. Second baseman Luis Arraez at the top of the lineup. Newly acquired Tim Anderson playing shortstop. Jazz Chisholm batting third. Nick Gordon will play left field. Avisel Garcia in right. John Birdie at third. Dane Myers at DH. Trey Mancini, the veteran, playing first base, and Nick Fortes behind the plate. We'll take a look at the numbers for Beeter last year. AA and AAA, 27 games, 26 starts, 9-7, a 3.62 ERA, 18 home runs, 75 walks. Maybe a bit too many, but that 165 strikeouts jumps out at you, Jack.
Yeah, you look at what Beeter did last season. You have a feeling that you might see him at the major league level this year. There's our scouting report. Trouble with the curve. That's batters who have trouble with Clayton Beeter's curve. You will see. That's his best pitch, and he will feature it. Fastball, command, flash. That goes back to what you just talked about. Too many walks. Have to be able to control that pitch to make sure his breaking pitches are better. And I've got him ETA 2024. At some point this season, Beeter will be in the major leagues.
Well, Beeter is ready. Arise in the box. He made the trip over from Jupiter, Florida. And the first pitch from Beeter, fastball fouled off. We are underway here from Tampa, Florida. Yankees with a 3-2 record. The Miami Marlins 1-3. Marlins a little road trip here during spring training, making their way over from Jupiter. Played the Yankees tonight, and I believe the Phillies tomorrow. And the 0-1 from Beeter. Ground ball to the right side. Rizzo up with it. The flip to Beeter. One down. Take a look at the Yankees defensively. We just saw Anthony Rizzo at first base. Gleyber Torres at second. Volpe at short. LeMahieu's going to be at third. Alex Verdugo in left. Grissom in center. Giancarlo Stanton gets his first shot at right field tonight. And Ben Rortvedt behind the mound. Behind the plate. Excuse me.
Flash Clayton Beeter, 6'2", 220. Talked to Kevin Reese, the Yankees senior director of player development, and he said he looks like a major league pitcher, and he competes that way in the way that he's going to go after you. High arm slot, throws that fastball right there. He's got a couple of breaking pitches, and he's a guy who wants to go out there and attack. He was actually a closer at Texas Tech for the bulk of his college career.
Well, quickly ahead on the veteran Tim Anderson. And another fastball in there for strike two. Anderson just signed by the Marlins, and there you see the resume on Beeter. Second round pick out of Texas Tech, acquired from the Dodgers in that Joey Gallo trade. And the 0-2 right by Tim Anderson. So two quick outs for Beeter. First strikeout of the night.
Yeah, we see the velocity on that fastball at 96 miles an hour. We're going to look at it one more time. He's over the top with that arm slot, and he doesn't mind throwing pitches up in the zone. Throws it right by Anderson. Again, in talking to Kevin Reese, he said one of the encouraging things already this spring about Beeter is that the Yankees have noticed an uptick in his velocity.
Two quick outs will be Jazz Chisholm up at the plate. Jack, one of the common conversations this whole spring is the depth in the Yankee rotation with starters. And you look at a guy like Beeter, and he might not be in that opening day rotation, and you said projected maybe to make the big leagues next year, but with an arm like this on the 40-man roster, there's an opportunity for him.
Yeah, I think you could see him this year. 2024 is ETA possibility for him. And Flash, he's starting right now, but as you know, a lot of starters sometimes make it to the major leagues and they put you in the bullpen. And he actually has a pitch package which may play up in the bullpen. He was a bullpen guy for the bulk of his college career. When he was in the Dodgers system, they actually almost used him more as an opener. And one time through the order. Does have a bright future, though.
Fly ball to left field. Verdugo coming on out of his reach. And that's going to scoot down the left field line. It's going to be extra bases for Chisholm. So first base hit of the night is a double for the number 3 hitter for the Marlins.
Yeah, Verdugo is a very good corner outfielder. Leaping attempt on this. We'll take one more look at it. Chisholm just shoots it the other way. Close but no cigar for Verdugo. He ends up collecting it. Chisholm ends up with the double. So Beeter retires the two former batting champions, and Arise and Anderson. Arise is actually 1-2. And Chisholm, who was on the cover of last year's MLB The Show, is now putting on a little show with that base hit.
Well, a runner in scoring position for the Marlins with 2 outs. Bring up Nick Gordon, traded over here to the Marlins from the Minnesota Twins. He looks at a fastball off the plate.
But regarding that depth, Flash, we should mention Warren, Hampton, Beater, they're all part of that depth. Luke Weaver is probably the 6th starter right now. Throw Luis Heel in the mix. The Yankees impressed with that depth even after trading depth to get Juan Soto, which is a deal they absolutely had to make, but they ended up giving up 3 pitchers in that trade. Michael King, who would have been a contender for the rotation this year, Vasquez and Brito. But Aaron Boone has spoken encouragingly about the players they have in those 6th, 7th, and 8th spots to be rotation possibilities.
2-0 fastball fouled off at 96 miles an hour. And Jack, on our hot stove shows, we have talked about the pitching depth and how we thought it would be an issue. And it was interesting to hear Aaron Boone right away saying, no, I like the pitching depth that we have, especially some of our young starters.
Yeah, Beater's definitely part of that. We gave his numbers last year, what he was able to do in the minor leagues. Lots of walks, lots of strikeouts. So the command is something the Yankees would like to see him refine.
Well, behind in the count here, 3-1 to Nick Gordon. Chisholm takes his lead off of second base, and that's going to be a 2-out walk. And here's a look, Jack, at that 2024 rotation depth.
You're never going to go through a season with 5 starters. The average for a major league team last year was 13 different pitchers made starts. So the likelihood of seeing the pitchers on this graphic in 2024 is at a high level. The Yankees used 32 pitchers last year. It's really 30 because IKF and Josh Donaldson end up on that list, but it's the old baseball cliche, but it's true, Flash. You can never have enough pitching.
Well, here comes the veteran Garcia as Beater spins to second, but Chisholm gets a good break and steals third. So after 2 quick outs, things getting interesting here for Beater in the first.
Yeah, Chisholm just stole that base on the pitcher. By the time Beater reacted, Chisholm was 3/4 of the way to third base, and he was not going to be able to have a play.
First and third, 2 down. The veteran Garcia playing right field tonight. Chance to do some damage with 2 outs. First pitch swinging at a fastball powered by him. Garcia, one of those players the Marlins know has to rebound. You see that batting average, only 3 home runs. Dealt with a lot of injuries last year, but he's a guy making $12 million. The production has to be there for them to repeat for a playoff team. Good swing, fouled straight back.
He signed him to a 4-year deal, and since then 11 homers in 135 games, and this is someone the Marlins were hoping would be a 30-homer type player. He has spoken optimistically about his possibility and chances of doing that this year. But you're right, Flash, they need much more production from him than they've received so far.
Jack, this will be an interesting pitch. 0-2 here from Beater. A couple of fastballs that beat Garcia. What does he do here with 2 strikes? He goes off speed, and he gets the call with a curveball up in the zone. Strike 3. So a little bit of trouble for Beater in the first inning. Able to make a pitch. LeMahieu's going to lead off when we come back. We're back for the bottom of the first inning. Yankees get their first look at the lefty Ryan Weathers, and we'll take a look at that Yankee lineup. DJ LeMahieu leading off. Gleyber Torres hitting second. Anthony Rizzo playing first and batting third. Giancarlo Stanton in right field tonight, and cleaning up, Alex Verdugo in left. Shortstop Anthony Volpe with his 20 home runs, 20-plus stolen bases last year. Trent Grisham in center field. The DH, Oscar Gonzalez, and Ben Rortvedt behind the plate. There's a look at DJ LeMahieu going through his practice swings right out of that on-deck circle. Yankees looking for a bounce back from DJ. Tough first half, much better in the second half. You would expect he would probably get a lot of leadoff opportunities as the season goes on. There's the lefty Ryan Weathers. Came over from San Diego last year. 1-8 record, 6.55 ERA, getting a chance to crack that rotation for the Marlins. First pitch to LeMahieu. Fastball for a strike, and we'll take a look at our scouting report on Weathers.
And that's the first point we made, fighting for a rotation spot, trying to show the Marlins he can be one of their top 5. He's working on a 2-seamer this spring, and he's a $5 million bonus baby. He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year out of Tennessee in 2018. 7th pick overall in the draft, signed for $5.2 million, and he's still trying to get some steady footing behind his major league career. And we should add, Flash, the son of former major leaguer David Weathers, who played parts of 2 seasons with the Yankees in '96 and '97. It's actually a real big piece of their '96 World Series team. Very strong in the postseason.
David Weathers pitched for a long time for a lot of different teams. Very successful major league pitcher. As that fastball is up, LeMahieu able to hold up.
Flash, 964 games for David Weathers. That's the 19th highest all-time by a pitcher. Jesse Orozco leads with 1252.
Here's a 2-2 from Weathers. That's fouled off. Nice to have a big league dad who went through a long career and worked with his son on his slider, which was a good pitch right there to LeMahieu. And there's a look defensively for the Marlins. Gordon, Chisholm, Garcia in the outfield. Birdie, Anderson, Arise, Mancini at first. Fortes behind the plate, and Weathers out on the mound. Fastball right by LeMahieu. 1 down here in the first.
And Weathers just dots the outside corner with 99 miles an hour. Marlins are saying, yeah, this is kind of what we need you to do. DJ LeMahieu is the type of player who can put the ball in play. Unable to do any damage with that. He's the first out of this game for the Yankees.
Gleyber Torres hitting second. Takes a first pitch slider for a strike. And you think about the Marlins from last year. 84-78 record. 3rd in the National League East. They made it to the playoffs. Lost to the Phillies in that wild card round. As Gleyber drills one to right center field. Garcia comes on. A nice sliding catch. Well hit by Torres. Nothing to show for it. But the Marlins, with their manager Skip Schumacher, took down NL Manager of the Year. They made the playoffs. Haven't really done a whole lot this offseason as we take another look at Gleyber's swing.
No, a quiet offseason, a couple of trades, a lot of movement as we see Garcia move to make that catch. A lot of movement in their front office. Kim Ng was replaced by Peter Bendix, who used to be with the Tampa Bay Rays. Gabe Kapler is now an assistant GM for them. But on the field, the team that you're seeing is essentially the team from last year, minus a couple of big pieces. Jorge Soler, and then Alcantara is recovering from Tommy John surgery. So while they were on a high of sorts last year for making the postseason, I think it's going to be challenging for them to repeat that in 24.
Anthony Rizzo, his first at bat of the night, facing the lefty Weathers. Good test for him, left on left. Takes that slider down and away to get ahead in the count, 2-1. As a hitter, you can take all the batting practice, all the live BP. It's getting in these game situations and facing a tough lefty like Weathers. It'll give Anthony Rizzo an idea of where he's at this point of spring training tonight. And 2-2. Rizzo choking up on the bat, fouls it off.
I've talked about this a lot on our post games and pre games. Flash, I just love how Rizzo gets even closer to the plate against lefties, just stays in there, doesn't mind if he gets hit, which has happened 213 times in his career.
Fastball up, swing and a miss. Very strong first inning for Ryan Weathers. 1, 2, 3, couple of strikeouts. We're going to take this one to the second.
Him about Beater, and he said at first, great life on his fastball, good secondary stuff. Jack, you mentioned the curveball, but for Boone, it's more about seeing consistent control and command, something he needs to see a little bit more of. One thing he did say, he seems to have a presence about him. He looks comfortable in the room, comfortable in the clubhouse, and doesn't seem to be phased on the mound. Boone added he is very much looking forward to not only seeing him tonight, but throughout the rest of spring training. Guys, as you already discussed, he is one of the young arms that the Yankees may need to count on this season. Exactly when he potentially gets the call to the majors, that remains to be seen, but he is impressed so far as a Yankee.
Well, thank you very much, Meredith. We look forward to you catching up with some of the players later on during this game. As Beater behind in the count 2-1 to John Birdie. Those are his numbers from last year, 7 home runs. It's an off-speed pitch for a strike, looped out to right field. Giancarlo Stanton will get his first action of the night. 1 down.
Flash, piggybacking on what Meredith said, going back to Kevin Reese's assessment of Beater, he said, when you've been doing this job as long as I have, he said, without even seeing certain guys pitch, you might see somebody and say, that guy over there is going to be pretty good. That guy over there is not really sure of himself yet. That guy over there, not sure he's going to have what it takes. He said when he watches Beater, he said, this guy's sure of himself. This guy believes in himself. He's confident. Again, we talked about the physique, 6'2", 220, and there's a lot of things the Yankees like about him.
Jack, I can tell you what I like about him, the old catcher sitting here watching, is his mechanics. And, you know, you hear all the time, we heard a little bit about it from Rodon, that last year maybe he was opening up a little bit early. When you watch Beater, he just flips his shoulders. Right shoulder flips over the left, and that keeps his direction to the plate in pretty good shape. And the pitcher that I caught during my career who always talked about that was Mike Mussina. Now, obviously, we're not going to compare him to Moose, but when you watch his left shoulder turn towards the plate, the right shoulder just flips right over the top. That should give him pretty good direction. LeMahieu can't come up with it. Probably going to be scored an infield hit for Dane Myers. Take another look.
Yeah, this was going to be a tough play. LeMahieu tries to get out on the short hop. He can't. I think that even if Volpe had grabbed that cleanly with the bare hand, not sure he would have been able to get the out. But Flash, what you were just saying about Beater, that has to be repeatable.
Exactly.
That has to be something that he's able to do over and over and over again. And I think as a young pitcher, that's one of the things you're trying to meet that challenge.
Myers taking his lead off of first. Trey Mancini, the veteran. Myers on the move. Rortvedt, the good strong throw. Torres can't come up with it. Myers with a stolen base.
Good jump by Myers. Rortvedt gets the ball there. Torres unable to handle the throw. Stolen base for Myers. Rortvedt knows Beeter pretty well. Caught him multiple times at AAA last season. So these two pitchers have worked together before.
Jack, I talk about Anthony Rizzo getting an at-bat against a left-handed pitcher, and Rortvedt behind the plate. That ball misses up and in. You can work on your catching drills and throwing to second base, but when you get into a game and the game speed of a runner taking off, yes, that wasn't executed where you get the out, but Rortvedt did everything perfectly right there. And he'll go back to the dugout. Tanner Swanson, the catching instructor, will say, hey, right on time, everything looked perfect. Mancini swinging 3-0, loops one into left field in front of Verdugo. And the Marlins have something going again here in the second.
Pitch up in the zone from Beeter, and that fastball was one that Mancini was able to reach out and drive into left field. We talked about how Beeter likes to throw up in the zone. That was in a spot where Mancini, a player Yankee fans are very familiar with from his days with the Orioles, collects the single.
First and third, one down will be the number 9 hitter, Nick Fortes. He takes a fastball for a strike that clips the outside corner. Numbers for Nick last year: 204, 6 home runs, 26 RBIs. Known as an excellent defensive catcher. And he's got an RBI situation here, first and third, less than 2.
One thing that Reese said about Beeter, Flash, is that the automated ball strike system, which he had to use at times in the minor leagues last season, was something that sort of reminded him or even taught him can't nibble for strikes, because if you nibble and it's outside of that ABS, it's going to be called a ball. So he said that was a learning situation for him.
Popped up. Torres underneath it. 2 down.
Because the hitters get to know what the zone is too, and if the zone is being called consistently, there's not a human being making those calls, you're not getting 2 or 3 inches on the corners. You have to throw strikes, and as we discussed at the top of the show, as much as the strikeouts are impressive with Beeter, the walks are high. So that was one thing last season that became a learning curve for him.
Well, for every young pitcher in camp, the coaching staff of the Yankees is going to be evaluating every situation. Matt Blake, pitching coach, Aaron Boone, the manager. And you want to see how a young right-hander can work his way maybe into some trouble, fight his way out of trouble. As Arise fouls one off the other way. He got the pop up to the number 9 hitter. You got to finish it off here with a very tough left-hander, National League batting champion in Luis Arise.
And a guy who just doesn't strike out.
No.
Strikeout percentage of 5.5 last year, by far the best in the major leagues. Arise is going to put the ball in play.
Fastball, ground ball to the right side. Glaber comes up with it over to Beeter. So nice job by the young right-hander. Got himself in a little bit of trouble, able to make some pitches to get out of it. Nothing here at Steinbrenner.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing
bottom of the second inning. It'll be 4-5-6 for the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton, Alex Verdugo, and Anthony Volpe. 3 hits for the Marlins. Yankees still looking for their first hit. Ryan Weathers, an impressive 1-2-3 first inning. Couple of strikeouts. And running that fastball up there about 96, 98 miles an hour.
Flash, that's one thing that you and I noticed in the first inning. His velo last year averaged 95. We saw some 99s in that first inning.
Well, there's that two-seamer that you said he's working on this spring. Misses down. The numbers for Stanton, we've talked about it plenty. Very down year. He's admitted it. Looking to rebound in 2024. Heading the count 2-0. It's underneath a fastball down the right side. Mancini going to run out of room.
So we know Giancarlo Stanton is a big story this spring. I'm going to give you an exclamation point as to how big a story it is. Paul O'Neill, our good buddy, our colleague. One more look at the Stanton swing from the side. Paul O'Neill reached out to me today, talked a little baseball. First question he asked, how has Stanton looked? I said, it's early, Paul. We've only seen a handful of swings. We've definitely seen a different physique, and he's talked about that.
Lays off the high fastball. And the 3-2 from Weathers. Comes right at him. Drilled the other way. A leadoff base hit for Giancarlo Stanton.
So we preface everything by saying it's only spring training. It's a small sample size. But that's a fastball, Flash, that I don't think Giancarlo Stanton hits last year. Against four-seamers last year, he had 186 with a slugging percentage of under 500. We just talked about Weathers' velocity. And throughout that at-bat, it seemed that Stanton was on those pitches, looked comfortable, looked locked in.
You know, Jack, when we showed that replay from the side, the one thing that jumped out to me, it looked like Giancarlo got ready to hit a little bit earlier. And, you know, the trouble that he had with the fastball, sometimes it's a timing issue where you're getting ready to hit late and then you're rushing and the fastball beats you. That one, it looked like he got ready a little bit earlier, right on time. There's Alex Verdugo. As Weathers going to check on Stanton.
I think I'm going to repeat the comment you made about Rizzo against Weathers from the first inning. Verdugo 220 against left-handed pitchers last season, so he wants to show the Yankees and Aaron Boone that that was an aberration and that he could hang in there and do some damage. For his career, he hits 259 against lefties with an OPS of close to 700.
You know, and I wonder if that batting average last year surprised you, because when you just said it to me, I think of Alex Verdugo when he was with the Red Sox as a guy that drilled the ball all over the park. So I would have expected those numbers to be better against lefties.
Yeah, it was a surprise, and I think the Yankees viewed Verdugo that way. Listen, some of his teammates, current teammates, including Aaron Judge, talked about how impressed they were with his game and what he was able to do for the Red Sox and how he always seemed to be creating some havoc against the Yankees.
Swings at a slider down and away. First out here for Weathers in the second.
One more look at it. That's a nasty pitch. Looks like a strike, looks like a strike, doesn't end up being close to a strike. So Weathers able to get ahead of Verdugo in the count and then go to that swing and miss breaking pitch.
With one down, it'll bring up Anthony Volpe. Gold Glove winner from last year, playing shortstop tonight. Takes that slider in the dirt for a ball. There are the numbers: 24 stolen bases, 21 home runs, but the batting average down to 209.
Flash, Volpe's been very candid this spring about some adjustments he's made, flattening his swing path. And I think one of the reasons that he did that against pitches in the upper third of the zone and higher last year, he had 179 with a 305 slugging percentage. pitchers detected that as an area of weakness, and they attacked him there. And with his swing having more of an uppercut to it, he wasn't able to combat what they were doing to him. So he's going in with more of a flatter bat path this year.
See if he has a green light. 3-0. He takes a fastball right down the middle. Now, the one thing I was told about Volpe this spring is that when you look at him kind of loading up, getting ready to swing, it's a lot more under control than it was last year. You talked about the uppercut, but a little more under control getting ready to hit. As Weathers checks on Stanton again, which should give him maybe keep that head a little bit more still, some more contact. And when I look at Anthony Volpe right here, you could tell he hit the weight room this offseason. He looks strong. 3-1. Fouled off. Jack, I know we talked about it during some of our hot stove shows there. We see the load getting ready. Head stays pretty still, and that fastball velocity beats him a little bit. But I talked about going through your rookie year in the major leagues, and you think you know what's going to happen. You're not prepared for it. It's a whirlwind, especially playing shortstop for the New York Yankees. I think Anthony got to his house this winter, took a deep breath, and said, you know what? I'm going to be ready to go in spring training. Fastball right by him at 96 miles an hour. So Weathers comes back after being behind 3-0. Picks up that second strikeout of the inning, fourth of the game.
Yeah, one more look from the side. You talked about Weathers beating him with the previous fastball that Volpe fouled off, and he beat him with that fastball as well. Once again, impressive velocity from Weathers. You see Volpe turn back to the plate umpire Barber, asking if that was a strike. I believe it was. And now Grisham trying to do some damage from the left side.
Grisham playing center field tonight. We know he is an excellent defensive outfielder. The bat lagging behind a little bit. 13 home runs last year, 50 RBIs. And again, another one of these left-handed hitters in the lineup. Get a good feel against the left-handed pitcher Weathers on where their game is. Take a look at the reverse splits. Hits better against left-handed pitching, 121 at bats, 256 with 4 home runs.
Now, how do you explain that, Flash? How do you explain a guy like Grisham having that kind of success against the same side pitcher?
Well, I would say for me, righties probably work him down and away with that changeup and two-seamer and a lot of ground balls to second base. Lefty, you really got to hang in there against that breaking ball. Just misses right there. Good pitch from Weathers. And you kind of force yourself to stay in a little bit more, and maybe the number's a little bit better. Good take there. 2-2 fastball just misses again. Just off the plate, Sean Barber, our home plate umpire.
If you're catching, you want that one, I imagine.
If you're pitching, if you're catching, if you're the pitching coach and the manager. 3-2, Stanton will be on the move with 2 outs. Grisham fouls that one off to the seats. Well, so far so good for Ryan Weathers, fighting for a rotation spot. He has made an impression with velocity. 4 strikeouts already out of his 6 outs. Fouled off.
Flash, I mentioned earlier that he was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in 2018. I'm not even going to let you guess. I'm just going to tell you his ERA that season, 0.11.
Slider down and away. Good at bat for Grisham, working a walk there with 2 outs. Well, here comes the DH and number 8 hitter in the lineup, Oscar Gonzalez. And Yankee fans will remember him from his time with the Cleveland Guardians. He takes a fastball down the middle for strike one. .54 games last year with the Guardians, 239, couple of home runs, 12 RBIs. Pulled to the left side. Anderson up with it, the throw in time to get Gonzalez. A nice play by the veteran shortstop, the new Marlin, Tim Anderson, going to his right, planting on his back foot and making a strong throw across the diamond. We're scoreless. We'll be back for the third. Tomorrow night on Yes, Cats' next spring training game as the Yankees take on the Toronto Blue Jays under the lights at Steinbrenner Field. Coverage starts at 6:30 on Yes and on the Yes app. And remember, Yankee fans, opening day is March 28th against the Houston Astros. Garrett Cole on the mound tomorrow night. First spring training start after his Cy Young Award-winning season, and Colton Beater out for his third inning, couple of scoreless innings, although he's had to work his way out of some trouble. Tim Anderson leading off. He was a strikeout victim in the first. All right, Jack, couple of innings in the book. Give me your impressions of Beater.
I think what the scouting report on him that was given to me is accurate. He'll throw his fastball up in the zone. He's got two types of breaking pitches. The curve is the better one, and there it is right there, almost on cue. He will lack command at times. We've seen some base runners, but we've seen him work his way out of it. This is the pitch that's the equalizer. You see a really good hitter. Well, at times he's been a really good hitter, not last year. Tim Anderson, his knees just buckled on that. I think you're building him up, and he's a potential piece for you in 2024.
Yeah, I'd say watching him through 2 innings, fastball is definitely his best pitch right now. The breaking balls that we have seen have been more middle of the plate, not the corner breaking off where maybe you would get some strikeouts. There's a fastball up and in, gets the call on the third strike. So Tim Anderson 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts.
You see where Rortvedt puts his glove, and Beater almost dots it, as maybe a little bit of a frame help there from Ben Rortvedt, pulling that ball down. Very helpful. Yeah. Not just maybe, definitely.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the framing, there's been so much discussion on getting the low pitch. Rortvedt, good job right there bringing that high pitch down to the strike zone and getting the call. An interesting spring training for Ben Rortvedt. You don't know if he's going to make this team. He's out of options, meaning the Yankees try to send him to the minor leagues. They could lose him. So these games, these at-bats, these appearances are big for him.
He would have to pass through waivers if that comes to fruition. Right now, even though Trevino is injured, he is expected back for the last couple of weeks of spring training. Wells, as that pitch is fouled off, the bunt is fouled off by Chisholm. Wells looms as the second catcher, so Rortvedt is kind of on the outside looking in, but he proved himself last year, Flash. He caught Garrett Cole's final 13 starts, and that was in a Cy Young award-winning campaign.
Well, what do we like about Ben Rortvedt, right? What you just said with the work he did with Cole, the way he receives the ball. He's an above-average thrower. His pop time about 195, which is better than major league average. And a good block right there from Rortvedt. And what you also like is a left-handed hitter who has a little bit of power. Now, would you consider him a backup? Would you consider him a platoon if you're, let's just say, another organization watching him right now?
I think absolutely you would consider him somebody who could be a backup catcher in your organization. He may end up being at AAA, but I think he proved himself last year. Yes, the bat lagged behind, but the work that he did with Cole, that was impressive.
95 miles an hour, dotted down and away, so 2 quick outs here in the third for Beeter, a couple of strikeouts.
Yeah, we've talked about the fastball and how he could throw the fastball up in the zone. When you want to be a successful major league pitcher, you've got to spot it in all 4 quadrants, and that's what Beeter was able to do right there. Low and away to get Chisholm.
2 down to bring up Nick Gordon, who walked in the first inning. I do want to get back to Rortvedt a second, and you know, you talk about the bat lagging behind, and the numbers say that, right? But part of the issue is when you're catching Garrett Cole once every 5th day, you're getting 2, maybe 3 at bats a week. And you know, I guess my point is, it's easy to say, oh, he's a backup catcher, that's what he's going to be. I don't think we know that yet. You know, with the Yankees, he might not get a chance to get a lot of at bats, but you never know if they're the scouts who are sitting behind the stands, and there are plenty of them at these spring training games. They might see a little bit more. So we'll see how the spring plays out for Rortvedt. Ground ball to the right side. Easy play for Gleyber Torres, and a very smooth 1-2-3 top of the 3rd inning for Clayton Beeter. 3 shutout for Beeter. It'll be Rortvedt leading off the 3rd. We got a pitcher's duel going here early, bottom of the 3rd inning. 3 hits for the Marlins, 1 for the Yankees, and it'll be 9-1-2 for the Yankees here in the 3rd. Rortvedt, LeMahieu, and Gleyber Torres against Ryan Weathers He's been pounding that strike zone, some good velocity, and Rortvedt fouls off that first pitch heater. 32 games last year. We talked about him catching Garrett Cole. A couple of home runs, 4 RBIs. Stays on that slider. Fly ball to right field. Easy play for Garcia. 1 down.
Flash, you were talking about the offense and maybe scouts see something else with Rortvedt. We should point out last year at the minor league level with the Yankees, 139 plate appearances. He did have an OPS of over 900, had 6 home runs, 32 strikeouts and 139 plate appearances, though a high number there. But I've always walked into a major league clubhouse during spring training, and someone like that who may get caught up in the numbers game, I think it takes a lot of mental discipline to not think about that, because how can you not be thinking about that over and over and over?
Good off-speed pitch, clips the outside corner. Well, listen, I was in Ben Rortvedt's shoes a bunch of spring trainings during my career when you were either had options, you could be sent to the minor leagues, or you were out of options and you either had to make the club or other clubs would have a chance to pick you up. And you think about it. And if you're Rortvedt and every player, you want to get out of options so that at least you can say, if the Yankees try to send me down, I know what all the other 29 other clubs will think of me if they either pick me up or they let me go through waivers. 1-2 misses up and away.
Interesting defensive alignment in the outfield, Flash. We know that they've outlawed extreme shifts in the infield, but it's not going to matter as LeMahieu goes down on the fastball. But Chisholm Jr. playing way over in right center field.
12 pulled fastballs last year, 65 total fly balls from LeMahieu. That's something to pay attention to. If we're seeing it in spring training, you know the word's out.
Seeing it from the Marlins, yes, no less, a team that doesn't see the Yankees very often.
Manager Skip Schumacher has seen enough. Ryan Weathers was impressive.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities.
New pitcher for the Marlins, Austin Roberts. You see his numbers last year in AA and AAA, 44 games. ERA a little bit high, about a strikeout an inning, 75 Ks and 72 in the third. He takes over here in the third inning with a couple of outs as Aaron Judge looking on, the captain. Gleyber Torres takes a breaking ball for ball 1. Gleyber line drive to right field, his first at bat. Hitting second in the lineup tonight.
Flesh, we hear so many players in spring training say, I'm going to work on this during the season. Gleyber Torres said he wanted to be a more disciplined hitter last year, and then he carried through with that. He had 39 walks and 129 strikeouts in 22. And then in 23, he cut the strikeouts to 98, and he increased his walks to 67 by simply not chasing as much.
Behind in the count here, 1-2. This is where Glaber really improved last year with 2-strike hitting, especially with runners in scoring position. It felt like we talked about it all year long on our post-game shows, how he got ready early, got the front foot down, and just put balls in play to pick up some RBIs. Free agent year for Glaber.
It's his free agent year. Brian Cashman was asked this spring about any talks of an extension with Glaber Torres, and his response was he's our second baseman right now for this season. In your walk year, you want to have a huge year.
Shot down the right field line, foul. Now, the reporter in you, when you hear he's our second baseman for this year, how does that process in your reporter's mind?
Well, the Yankees historically haven't had a lot of extensions with players. Robinson Cano, I believe, was one. I think it means that the Yankees are going to let the season play out and see where things end up.
Ground ball to short. Anderson up with it. And a quick 1-2-3, bottom of the third. We are scoreless in Tampa, Florida. We're going to take this one of the fourth. We are back for the top of the fourth inning. Scoreless game here at Steinbrenner Field. John Flaherty along with Jack Curry. And we're fortunate enough to spend the top of the fourth inning with the manager of the New York Yankees, Aaron Boone, his 7th season as the Yankee manager. Aaron, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hello, guys. How are we? First night game of the year.
How is that treating you? That was going to be my first question. You guys have been grinding every morning as Garcia rolls over a ground ball, a quick out. You've been grinding every morning. Get a little night game tonight.
Yeah, and coming out of the off day yesterday, having 2 off days a little odd for us down here, but off day yesterday into a night game, a good little break, for the guys, and get a little start, get under the lights a little bit. Nice.
Aaron, Clayton Beeter falls under the heading of some of that depth that you've talked about this spring. What impressed you the most about his 3 innings?
Probably his stuff. I mean, I thought life on the fastball was there. He was throwing fastballs by guys. I think the biggest thing for him is going to be quality of strike throwing. Can he do it, at a starter's, big league starter's level? And that's what continues, to be how far he'll climb, because the stuff is certainly there.
Aaron, I was talking early on how yourself and Matt Blake and the coaching staff are watching young pitchers. You want them to go out there and dominate, but you're also watching how they pitch out of trouble. Beeter did that the first couple of innings.
He did. little flare down that left field line. And the other thing I liked about him, he was good in the running game as far as times to the plate, aware, didn't suffer any stuff or pitch quality with it. So that was good to see. Gave up that soft hit and then fell behind in the count. Mancini smoked one to left on him, but I thought he managed around that really well and kind of controlled the tempo and pace of the game.
Aaron, a big part of Stanton's struggles last season came against fastballs, and Weathers was bringing some velocity tonight, and he's able to shoot that 97 the other way. How encouraged are you by an at-bat like that, and what you hope to see from Stanton for the rest of the season? Yeah, I mean, look, it's early, so you just want these guys to get the reps and find their timing, especially veteran guys. But certainly, his first 3 at-bats the other day in his first game action, I don't think he got a hit, but had 3 good at-bats where he put the barrel on the ball with some authority. And then I thought that entire at-bat, I thought he got some good swings off. I thought he got a good swing off on the 2-0 changeup that he fouled to the right side. I like the way he looks. Actually, before the pitch, I said to Brad, he's going to sting this one, and got to it. Looked like up around the belt. So, certainly a good start, and like where G's at for this time, February 29th, not bad.
Well, Volpe has a tough time coming up with that ground ball. But, Aaron, I want to get back to Stanton again. You talk about his at-bats, but there's been a lot made of, physically he came in great shape and is moving a little bit better. Have you seen that? We haven't really seen a whole lot of him in right field tonight.
Yeah, that's the consensus. Have I really seen that? No, because this is only his second game. And,
yeah.
So he hasn't had that chance to, he almost, if that ball gets in the hole where Anderson made a really good play in the hole, would have been one of those times where you get to see him go second to home maybe and see how he's moving. So haven't really seen it yet, hasn't been tested yet, but, there's no question he came in, and you talk to the trainers and strength and conditioning staff, and where they're assessing how he's moving and things like that, and it's all really encouraging where he's at.
Aaron, Volpe didn't handle that last grounder, but he handled enough grounders last year to win a Gold Glove. What are the things you think he did so well last year to earn him that honor?
I think he plays the game really fast and under control at shortstop. So the ability to play it, like the way I describe, he's got a great motor and he's able to play really fast, but so that helps him with range plays, but he's usually very sure-handed with his range plays. To watch him work, to watch his process, he doesn't have your traditional shortstop rocket of an arm necessarily, but you never really see his arm strength hurt him, because he takes such good angles. His pre-pitch is so good. His intensity to make sure he's taking angles, getting good hops, things like that. He does at such a high level. And the result was, proof in the pudding. He wins the Gold Glove, and deservedly so, with just, to me, playing the position as fast as he does, yet under control.
Ian Hamilton, a couple of quick outs ahead in the count here, 1-2. And, Aaron, you and I have gone through this. You go through your rookie year, and then you get to the offseason, and you're able to digest what you went through. I always thought that players coming back for that second year, they're almost like a man instead of a rookie, because they know what to expect. So I know you're not going to put expectations on Volpe, but you expect him to be a much better player, right?
I do, just because of, ultimately why we went with him, other than, obviously he had a really good, strong spring for us last year, but, we were betting on the person and the makeup, and he showed us that all year through highs, through lows, whatever it may be. This is a guy that, we want to hang our hat on and believe is going to be a core player for us for a long time. And he went right into the offseason and continued to show the work ethic he's shown throughout his life, and I think has done a really nice job this winter of, just, making a little adjustment in his approach and in his swing, and hopefully it's something that shows up with, more average, more hits, and with that, obviously on base more, we can take advantage of his base running skills. violation.
Aaron, one of the newfound joys of being the Yankee manager is you get to write Soto and Judge's name in the lineup. Tonight, you didn't get to do that. How painful was that for you to not be able to write either one of their names in the lineup?
You know, on February 29th, not too bad. They'll both be in there tomorrow. So it's been fun to watch them so far. You know, Judgy just the one game, but Soto, you know, played those first 2 home games and obviously really stung a couple balls. So it's been. I feel like he's done a great job assimilating with the team and getting to know the guys, and you know, he's come in here in short order and really fit in, and I can't wait to see what those 2 guys do.
You know, Aaron, one of the things in spring training when you bring some new players in, we know what they can do out on the field, but you don't really know them personally or their makeup in the clubhouse. What kind of feel do you get from the makeup of your team in that clubhouse?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Look, it's a very hungry group, and you know, for 1,000 different reasons, you know, we feel like we gotta get it done. And a lot of guys, you know, had some injuries last year, had some down performance. There's been an intent to the work they've done all winter. It's carried in so far here in spring, and we're excited to go. Hopefully, you know, prove ourselves to the world.
Well, Aaron, we thank you again for spending some time with us. A scoreless 4th for Hamilton. We'll be We are back for the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be 3-4-5 for the Yankees. Rizzo, Stanton, and Verdugo, and they're going to face a new right-handed pitcher, Anthony Bender. 22 games last year, 3.26 ERA, 8 walks and 17 strikeouts.
He's the ultimate sinker slider pitcher, Flash. He'll throw his sinker about 60% of the time. It averages 97.5. Throws his slider more than 30% of the time, and that averages about 85. He'll also mix in a changeup and very rarely throws the 4-seamer.
Good fastball there at 97 miles an hour. Rizzo was a strikeout victim to end the 1st inning.
We've talked a lot about what Rizzo endured last year. First 53 games, 11 homers, an OPS of almost 900. Collides with Tatis in late May. When he does try to come back, serious struggle. That pitch misses inside. He ended up with 1 homer in his next 169 at-bats. Had that post-concussion issue. His reaction time wasn't what it needed to be, so the rest of the season, a lost cause for him.
1-2 fouled off, and I think of it, Jack, from a personality standpoint. When Aaron Judge goes down, you know, Anthony Rizzo saying, okay, I got to be the guy to pick up some of the slack and dealing with those concussion issues. Then I got to take responsibility. Well, there's a lot going on there. guess the greatest quote that you can hear from Anthony Rizzo this spring is that he's seeing the ball like he used to. Feels like he's 100% healthy. That's good news for all the Yankee fans out there. Be a 3-2 from Bender. That fastball off the plate, so a good at bat for Rizzo. Leadoff walk here in the 4th.
Flash, I'm very eager to share this nugget with you. Do you know that some people believe that the person who deserves credit for throwing the slider was a gentleman whose last name was Bender, Charles Albert Bender. So now we've got a Bender throwing a slider.
And they called it a slider. I would assume they would call it a Bender from Bender.
Now you're challenging me, but I know that Bender won 212 games in his career, pitched the no-hitter. It probably was called a Bender back then.
It wasn't called a sweeper. the new age pitch as Stan hits that one to second base. It's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. So Bender, the sinker baller, it's exactly what he needed.
One more look at that. The Marlins have Stanton played perfectly for where he hit that chopper. And I like the answer that Aaron Boone gave me, understanding that you're not going to make too much out of one at-bat with Stanton, but just so far what you've seen of him has been good.
Verdugo first pitch swinging. That'll be an easy 4th inning for Anthony Bender. A lot of sinkers, a couple of ground balls.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me.
A lot of guys in this lineup that can do a lot of damage. What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of this offense?
Dangerous. Professional, dangerous. These guys come to camp knowing what they're trying to do, so it's been exciting early on in this camp to see them have a purpose and a plan for what they're trying to do and be able to go out there and execute it early.
Giancarlo Stanton talked about making some slight adjustments in the batter's box. Is there anything discernibly different to you when you see him in that box?
So it's interesting for me because obviously I didn't get to follow him all year last year, so a lot of this for me is watching what I saw on video and then watching him come to spring training and watching what he's doing now. I see a guy whose work is incredible, like as far as like his focus and what he's trying to do is like really good up there at the plate. So right now I'm kind of focused on that. The changes are things that he's thinking about mentally and trying to keep a certain approach up there. So, you know, we'll keep watching to see how it goes, but I like where he's at early on.
You've had a relationship with Aaron Judge for a long time. What's the biggest difference? I mean, the power has always been there, but what's the biggest difference, Aaron Judge as a hitter now as opposed to Aaron Judge when you saw him in the minors?
Man, experience. There's no teacher in this game like experience. You know, the more times he's gotten to get up to the plate, the more times he's worked on it. He has an idea how guys are trying to get him out. He knows what he wants to do in return. So the experiences have made him a smarter hitter. He's always been the work ethic and the guy who's going to give you everything he has, but now he has experience versus these pitchers. Makes him a lot more dangerous.
Now this team just got out of the cage, and Juan Soto hit an absolute blast, hitting the O out there. What did you think of that one?
Like it. I want to see more of it, see as much as we can of it. No, he's got a professional approach. I mean, his BPs are spectacular, something like you haven't seen before. A guy who can keep a ball on the line that long, work the whole field, stay in the middle, backspin the ball properly. I mean, this guy has a chance. I shouldn't say a chance to be. He is one of the most elite hitters in the game now, so we'll just see how far it goes, but he's a pleasure to watch.
You want to see more of it? Yankees fans want to see more of it. I know you have a ton of work to do. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Send it back to you.
Well, thank you, Meredith. Great talk with the new hitting instructor, James Rowson from Mount Vernon, New York. It's an opportunity here at the big league level with the Yankees as Hamilton out for his second inning of work. There's a look at Juan Soto that James was talking about. Rowson got the job. One of the things I thoroughly enjoyed listening to him was when somebody asked, well, what's your philosophy? What's your style? And he said, well, I'm going to get to know my guys and get to know each one of them and what they need to do. And that's my job, to make sure that I'm on top of it for each individual hitter. I never understood when a hitting instructor said, this is my style, I want my guys to hit this way. Every hitter is different. As Volpe comes up with it, 2 down here in the top of the 5th.
David Cohn has always talked about that from the pitching side too, Flash. He said you can't be a cookie cutter coach. You might have Randy Johnson, who is 6'10", and you might have Nestor Cortez, who's about 5'11", and you're really going to try and teach those 2 players the same way to pitch. Well, hitting is the same way. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own comfort level and their own strengths and weaknesses. So Rowson trying to bring out all the strengths in the Yankees.
2 down, first pitch fastball. Number 3 hitter Jazz Chisholm. 1 for 2, double in the first, stole a base. James Rowson actually signed to play for the Seattle Mariners. A friend of mine, Tommy McNamara, was the scout who signed him. So his career coming full circle as a player, a coach. Now back to the New York Yankees as the big league hitting instructor.
Rowson was a product of Mount St. Michael's, drafted in the 9th round by the Mariners in 1994, played minor league baseball for them and for the Yankees. And then he was the Yankees minor league hitting coordinator. So he has a history with the organization. You heard Meredith talk about the fact that he knows Aaron Judge and that there's a history there. And even in those few minutes on camera, even if you didn't know him, there's an enthusiasm and an upbeat attitude there.
Popped up to the right side. Gleyber Torres settling underneath it. And a nice, smooth, easy 1-2-3 top of the 5th inning for Ian Hamilton. Juan Soto likes it. Tickets for all 2024 Yankees home games are on sale at Yankees.com. This season's home schedule includes some great promotional giveaways and is highlighted by interleague games against the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Cardinals, as well as the annual Subway Series against the Mets. For more information and to get your 2024 Yankees tickets, visit Yankees.com today. Bottom of the fifth inning, Anthony Volpe leading off against a new pitcher for the Miami Marlins, Max Meyer. Season last year in A-ball, jumped all the way up to AAA, 13 starts. Good ERA, 3.69, 5 home runs. A couple of years ago, he had Tommy John surgery as Volpe pulls that one foul.
Meyer features slider, fastball, and changeup. Fastball will be in the mid-90s, trying to rebound from that Tommy John surgery. That's a nice slider right there to Anthony Volpe.
Volpe struck out in the second inning against Ryan Weathers, who looked impressive in his bid to fight for a rotation spot with the Marlins.
Volpe had that .209 batting average, his OPS of .666, one of the lowest in the major leagues. He did a lot of really good things last season for the Yankees in his first year, but the offensive side, he's hoping it comes like right there.
Good at bat there as he smokes it to left center. Looks like he's going to try to stretch it into a double, and he does. Leadoff double, bottom of the fifth for Anthony Volpe.
One of Volpe's skills is his speed. We talked about the flattening of the swing. How about the flattening of that swing, the flattening of the baseball, and then no hesitation, Flash. Volpe off the bat was going to do his best at that point to challenge Sanoha, who is now in center field for Chisholm. And it's a close play at second, but he gets in ahead of the tag.
I want to bring up Trent Grisham, who walked his first at bat. Opportunity for him, a little situational hitting right here. Scoreless ball game. Left-handed batter, see if he can get the bat head out, pull one to the right side, try to drive in a run, but at least get Volpe to third with less than 2 outs. It's always a fine line, Jack, during spring training. Are you up there offensively, working on your swing, trying to get your hits, or are you putting yourself in situational at-bats right here for Grisham? I always felt like during the spring it was good to see where you were at. Can I hit a ball to the right side right here? Can I get Volpe to third with less than 2? See what he's thinking here with this 1-1 count for Meyer. Good take, down and away, just off the plate. Meyer was the 3rd overall pick in 2020. Good slider there. We talked about that Tommy John surgery, missed all of last year. He is still the 89th prospect out of the top 100 by Baseball America. Marlins have high hopes for him.
Grisham didn't like that call. You called it a good slider, but he's talking to Sean Barber about it and even called timeout to collect himself. But the point you brought up, Flash, is a good one. Sure, you want to drive the ball here if you're Grisham. You'd love to hit a ball into a gap somewhere, but there's also a baseball axiom about moving the runner over. So I think you want to practice what you preach, and you want to play at a game level even when it's an exhibition game.
Well, I'm even thinking about it. You're a new player to this organization. Are you going to show your manager and the coaching staff, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm going to have a professional at bat here. Got to grind now with 2 strikes. Try to put the ball in play. Slider, swing and a miss. 1 down here in the 5th.
We talked about the slider being an effective pitch for Meyer. He actually throws it more than he throws his four-seam fastball. One more look at it. So, Flash, if you were behind the plate and a player was just so disgruntled in what the umpire did that he argued and then called timeout, would you go right back to that pitch? Because that's what the Marlins did.
Yeah, I don't know if you do that so much because he was arguing. I think it's really trying to figure out what Meyer's best weapon is in that count, and back-to-back sliders, couple of good ones. Brings up Gonzalez with one down, a ground out in the second. Volpe a good lead off of second base.
I think Volpe stopped himself, and I think he would have had that base if he kept going. Meyer was not really looking at him. He had a great jump, and after sort of getting that secondary lead, like if he goes right there, I think he's in good shape, trying his best to distract Meyer if possible, and also get himself a little closer to scoring the game's first run.
Ground ball to the left side. Look over at third. Throw across the diamond. 2 down. Jack, I'm glad you bring up the possibility of stolen bases for Volpe. We think back to last year. I think he snuck up on the league with that little stutter step, time it, and go. And we saw the stolen base department kind of slow down from the middle of the year on.
13 in his first 41 games. There you go. And then ended up with 24 on the year. So Boone talked about the league clamping down on him. He didn't get on base as much. That was part of it as well. And you're right, he had his own distinctive way of getting that little skip and that little hop and moving himself towards second base. I think the Yankees should encourage him to be as daring and as aggressive on the bases as possible. I think that's a big part of his game.
Yeah, I guess the reason I bring it up is I'm going to be paying attention. Is he still going to go to that like secondary stutter step go, or is it going to be more the traditional a la some of the greatest base stealers in the game? You get a good lead, get a good jump, and let your speed dictate the action. As Wortvet rolls one over to the right side. So Meyer, after the leadoff double, retires 3 in a row. We are still scoreless. We are back for the 6th inning. It has been pitching that has dominated the evening, and the Yankees have a new right-handed pitcher on the mound. Ron Marinaccio will take over. And he will face Nick Gordon here in the top of the 6th. Hot shot right to Volpe. Easy play, 1 down. There are the numbers: 45 games, 4-5 record, a 3.99 ERA. Marinaccio had his struggles last year, ended the year in Scranton, and it didn't get much better when he was down at AAA. Trying to get back on form this spring.
Command was the issue for Marinaccio. Trouble throwing strikes. When he is on, the Yankees like Marinaccio because of his ability to retire lefties and righties. The changeup, a big part of what he's trying to do. Throws 4-seamer, changeup, and a sweeper.
Another hot shot right to Volpe. Couple of quick outs for Marinaccio.
A couple of assists for Volpe. Boone talking about him earlier and the way that he plays shortstop at a manic pace. And you're not going to see that cannon of an arm that you see from other shortstops, but I've talked to Boone about this as well, and he said he could not remember one time last year where he thought, wow, that play wasn't made because of Volpe's arm strength or lack of arm strength.
Birdie, first pitch swinging, drills one to right field. That should be extra bases. New right fielder Allen all over it. And John Birdie with a 2-out double. Well, Jack, I'm with Aaron Boone. I don't think the throwing arm of Volpe was ever a factor last year.
Now Birdie taking that inside pitch the other way. No, and he gets rid of the ball quickly. He does gobble up real estate at his position, and he really does play that position at a breakneck pace.
Well, you hear scouts talk all the time, right? They can measure the physical tools, the throwing arm, the strength, the speed, all of that, but there's a baseball clock in some of these players, and when you watch Anthony Volpe play, the baseball clock is right on time for him. He knows exactly how much time that he has to deliver that throw to first. Change up for Marinaccio to get back in the count. Couple of changes: Allen in right field, Van Meter at third, Rumfeld at first. Myers 1 for 2, reached on an error, stole a base. Marinaccio, after a couple of quick outs, 2-out double, now behind the count 3-1 to Myers. Right down the middle with a good fastball at 93 miles an hour. Comes 3-2, goes fastball again and beats Myers on the outer half. So a scoreless 6th inning for Marinaccio, trying to get back on track this spring. We'll be back for the bottom half. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to your favorite ballpark. Buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. We are scoreless, bottom of the 6th inning. Pitching has dominated tonight at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Meyer out there for another inning of work. That slider misses down and away. Josh Van Meter, his number from last year, 51 games. Hot shot to the right side. That's Trey Mancini. Nice play by the veteran first baseman. One down.
Yeah, Mancini moving well at first base. Moving to his right to snare this. Meyer over to receive the throw from him as they rob Van Meter of a base hit.
Trey Mancini has been through so much in his career. We know about his health problems and trying to hang on here with the Miami Marlins. Never a bad thing to have a veteran presence like Trey Mancini on your roster. See how the spring plays out for him. Good fastball from Meyer, strike one on Gleyber Torres. Gleyber, a line drive, ground ball to short. 0 for 2 tonight. And quickly behind in the count, 0-2.
Gleyber had 25 home runs last year, and when Aaron Judge was sidelined, Gleyber Torres was often the most consistent offensive performer the Yankees had.
Watch Gleyber last year. You can just say he graduated to the next level as a hitter, and when he was able to take pitches and get into fastball counts, he was hunting fastballs, trying to do damage. When he got behind in the count like he is here, tries to stay short, put the ball in play. A little check swing. Las Diaz, veteran umpire, said he didn't go. And it really is just graduating to another level where you learn to hit with 2 strikes. You don't panic when you get 2 strikes, and when you get in hitter's count, you let it fly. A good pitch by Meyer there, down middle. Torres over the top, and 2 quick outs here in the 6th.
We saw Weathers featuring a lot of velocity to start this game for the Marlins, and we've seen Meyer with a very good breaking pitch. Gets Torres to swing over that right there. Gleyber turned 27 in December. We've mentioned it's his walk year. That ball hit off Rumfield's foot, leg. So even though Mancini didn't field it and the crowd had an interesting reaction, that's a foul ball.
Take another look. Right away, Sean Barber behind the plate making the call.
Rumfield showing some power in the minor leagues last year with those 17 home runs.
Going to take a timeout here, slow things down. And the 0-2 from Meyer. Fastball in on the hands. Rumfield just fouls it off.
Rumfield, originally drafted in the 12th round by the Phillies, was traded to the Yankees for Nick Nelson.
Rolled over to the right side. Mancini again, the backhand and the flip to Meyer. So the young right-hander coming off Tommy John surgery. Meyer looking awfully impressive in his couple of innings.
Said the other day he's been preaching to the team to get a guy like you for a little while now, hoping you'd be a part of this team. Rizzo was dropping some hints at first base, but just how surprised were you when you found out you'd been traded to the New York Yankees?
Yeah, obviously, played against him a lot. Rizzo would drop little hints on me here and there, and really I just didn't think there was any way that I was going to come over here, stay in the same division, but be against them. So for me, it was a little bit surprising, caught me off guard pretty good, but after a couple days of looking at it, and I just kind of started flipping that script and just got excited to, be around Judge, Rizzo, DJ, Stanton. I mean, the list goes on, right? They're amazing guys over there, so or over here. So for me, it's just super excited to be here, and honestly, to know that you got guys like Judge and Rizzo, like on your corner, wanting you here and being like an advocate for you is it means a lot for me, and it just kind of makes me want to, push myself that much more.
Hey, you've watched Judge from afar for a little while now, but what impresses you about him now, knowing him kind of in the clubhouse and as things go along here?
I think the biggest thing is just how the true professional that he is. Obviously the routine that he sticks on a day-to-day basis, and then I think the biggest thing is handling all the social media, handling all the outlets that come to him and want a piece of his time. So for him to be able to manage all those and still do his stuff to get ready for the game, and then also just to kind of always be thinking like that and kind of doing that, it's very impressive from in my standpoint. I'm a big believer if I stay focused in the game, and I try to block out this other noise, but for him, he does a good job of being there whenever it's a good game, a bad game. He's always available to talk, and he's someone who he has his head on his shoulders freaking every day, man, every day. So he's a lot of fun to watch.
How do you stay focused? What works for you?
Honestly, for me, it's just coming here every day. Now, I've really got a good routine going. I know what it takes to get my body ready for 145 plus a year. So I think for me, it's just sticking to a routine and kind of, picking these veterans' minds and seeing what they have done in their careers and during the season that has made them feel so fresh throughout the whole year, right? And to be able to maintain at a high level throughout the whole year that's what I'm trying to, accomplish, and hopefully pick their brains a little bit and see what they've done that's helped.
What have you tweaked, if anything, that's hoping to get you there since you've been talking to guys and kind of learning their routine?
Yeah, I think for me it's, learning a lot of certain, I guess, baseball exercises and some bands and things that we can do in the weight room that really help emphasize the feeling of loading and kind of being into your glute when you're hitting. So, for me, I kind of get in and out of my load a little bit, where I get a little bit pushy. I kind of not really into my back hip. So for me, it's, you know, really taking those things that I'm working on in the weight room, bringing them off into the cage, and then translating it into, you know, game action.
You had mentioned how well Judge handles the media and everything surrounding him, but I saw you on media day, and you seem to be handling things just fine, and you kept talking about putting the pinstripes on kind of for the first time. Was that a moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would be in pinstripes, but, you know, to be over here, to wear the uniform, to you know, have the Yankees fan base on my side, and to be able to be my third organization, arguably the three most historic ones in baseball. This is just, it's a blessing for me to be here, and it was just a little bit surreal to be able to, you know, put that uniform on and kind of see it for the first time. And yeah, it felt a little bit weird, but, you know, it feels right.
Hey, you've leaned in too. I've noticed the cleats over the last couple of days. Tell me the inspiration behind these.
Yeah, these ones, you know, I feel like these are kind of like my New York alley cleats. You know, this way you'll see, like, on New York walls, you see a lot of graffiti everywhere out there. So these are kind of just that, for me, just a little kind of graffiti art on them. So I kind of like that style, and, you know, I got a lot of pairs of cleats coming this year, so I'm excited to kind of break them out and, you know, show my personality through my cleats a little bit.
I saw the retired number ones too. Those look pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I love them. They match the uniform really good, obviously, and you know, to give the retired numbers, those guys that have played here, made a legacy, made a Hall of Fame career, and really made an impact. You know, it's nice to honor those guys and you know, just kind of show that's where the game was. We're at this level now, and it's like when we're retired, we kind of want the next wave to still admire like what we kind of did.
Alex, thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Meredith. Thank you, Alex. We are back for the bottom of the 7th inning. Pitching has dominated this spring training game. 4 hits for the Marlins, only 2 for the Yankees, as Anthony Maldonado will take over the 7th inning. He sees numbers from last year, 37 games, and he will face Greg Allen leading off the bottom of the 7th.
Greg Allen hitting in the spot that Stanton had occupied. He had one of those 2 Yankee hits, a single in the 2nd inning. Volpe has the other, a double in the 5th inning. 3rd stint in the Yankee organization for Greg Allen. He was with them for part of last season.
Numbers last year in 22 games. When I hear 3rd time back with an organization, Jack, obviously there's some talent there, but I think you also handle yourself the right way, that an organization wants you to be back with their club.
And Allen has some attributes that an organization would be interested in. Speed is his calling card. Plays good defense as well. We will see how the rest of the spring pans out. Could be AAA depth for the Yankees. Tough to imagine him cracking into this outfield.
The last couple of innings of these spring training games, you have some young players trying to make an impact. A veteran like Allen. They roll over to second base. One down here in the 7th, trying to make an impression. As Rafael Devers' brother makes the play at second base. Oswaldo Cabrera taking over in left field. Alex Verdugo.
I talked about Allen's calling card being speed. Cabrera's obviously is his versatility, the ability to play so many different positions and play them well.
Gets under that one, drives it to right field. Routine fly ball for Conine out and right. 2 down.
What Cabrera would like to add alongside that versatility is more production. Hit .211 with an OPS of under 600 last year. That was far different from his rookie year, when in fewer at-bats he had an OPS of 740. He made some adjustments toward the end of last season. Hitting-wise, kind of went back to what he felt he had done well earlier in his Yankee stint.
Cabrera's interesting, though, right? He comes up to the big leagues and he's kind of bouncing all over the place, and you know, you don't get consistent at bats. Now he's probably going to be on this team, I would think, Jack, as a guy who can move all over, play a bunch of positions, switch hitter. That's going to find the seat. So the good news is your versatility is going to work for you. The bad news is you're probably not going to be an everyday player.
You're not going to be an everyday player, and as you mentioned earlier when we were talking about Rortvet, when you do get some ABs, you have to figure out a way to do something with them. But we know the Yankees do like Cabrera a lot because that versatility part of his game, it's such a security blanket for a manager, especially when the defensive side is covered.
The 0-2 to Smith. Pop up to the right side. And that's going to find the seats again. And, you know, Jack, I was a backup catcher as a young player, and I was a backup catcher as a veteran player at the end of my career. And the biggest thing for the bench players is not making that built-in excuse like, how am I supposed to hit when I'm not getting at bats? It's hard to do when you're a young player because it's right there in front of you. I play once a week. How am I supposed to do this? When you get older, you start realizing I can help this team in so many ways. I don't have to get a couple of hits the day that I play. Not easy for a young player.
Right. The experience is what taught you that and is what will teach other players that. But it has to be a struggle because all of these players are used to playing every day. That's what got them to the level that they got to.
Nasty fastball down and away from Maldonado, who has an easy 1-2-3 7th inning. We are scoreless, and we're going to take this baby to the 8th.
Diversity.
We are back for the top of the 8th inning. Tanner Tully back out there, only needed 7 pitches to complete the 7th inning. Behind in the count here, 1-0. That breaking ball misses down and in. Tully's numbers last year in AAA, 19 games, elevated ERA, 14 home runs, 19 starts. That's a ground ball right back up the middle. Easy play for Durbin, 1 down. We see Tanner Tully working to a new catcher behind the plate for the Yankees, Ben Rice. And when you watch Rice working behind the plate, you can see he goes with that 1 knee down stance. And an interesting article came out in Baseball America by J.J. Cooper. And last year they did some research. 68% of big league catchers are going with that 1 knee down stance 100% of the time. 21%, we know Kyle Higashioka, Higgy would use the conventional stance, and about 12% use a hybrid. So sometimes the knee down, sometimes conventional. So whether we like this, Jack, or the old school beat up catcher sitting next to you likes this or not, the 1 knee down is here to stay.
It's here to stay because in that same article, Baseball America pointed out that in 2021, as we see Kevin Smith handling this ground ball and throwing across for the out, 2021 Flash, it was 39% who used a 1 knee down with runners on base. So it's basically doubled, and it's pervasive throughout Major League Baseball. And I know in having discussions with you about this, you thought that that approach could sometimes prohibit a catcher and maybe impact his mobility and his ability to block some pitches.
Yeah, the blocking was my big concern. You know, I understand the 1 knee down, you can receive that low pitch better. I get that. They proved in the research that you can throw from the 1 knee down stance and throw some runners out. And this article in Baseball America basically defends that you can also block pitches. The one thing that I would question would be the range of blocking pitches off the plate to the right or to the left. If you block a ball right down the middle, 1 knee down, I get it. But I think it's the range that gets hurt, as Tully is making this look easy here in the 7th and the 8th inning, as that's 6 up, 6 down for Tully. Take this one to the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th inning. Some zeros on that scoreboard. 4 hits for the Marlins, only 2 for the Yankees. The pitching has dominated. The one guy who's been swinging the bat well this entire spring and has made quite an impression is this man right here, Spencer Jones.
Spencer Jones having himself a strong spring. He fouls that one off down the left field line. Up to date with that pitch, Flash. He's now seen 56 pitches this spring. He's swung at 21 of them. He's yet to swing and miss. This is a guy who at the minor league level had almost a 30% strikeout rate. So you talk about coming into the spring wanting to make an impression. He's 5 for 7. He's got a homer, a walk, some RBIs. He does have a strikeout because he's taken some called third strikes, but he hasn't swung and missed yet, which really is amazing.
You know, when you see a big man like this, Jack, you know, the old catcher in me is like, okay, you got to pitch him up and in with the hard stuff and down and away with the off speed. But showing some good plate discipline there, laying off 2 pitches to get back in the count 2-2. And we've seen in Lakeland, Florida, what, 475-foot long home run on a pitch that was down and in to Jones, and he crushed it.
Kevin Reese, who I mentioned earlier, the Yankees senior director of player development, he talked about some of the things that Jones has done so well this spring. He said you look at the offense, but Yankee coaches have talked about his defense being just as impressive. But Kevin also said he needs at-bats. He needs to work on the game planning type of things, understanding how pitchers are going to attack him, understanding how lefties especially are going to attack him. And I think we're seeing that play out in front of us this spring. He was at Somerset last year for a spell, so you would expect that he'll probably start the season at Double-A Somerset again, and you see where he ranks on the Yankee prospect list.
Takes that fastball down and in, working the count full. And you know, Jack, I always talk about big men, right? I mean, 6'7", first-round pick out of Vanderbilt. You always try to pound them in and throw breaking balls and see how they react. That's a fastball down the middle, ground ball to the right side. Devers up with it, 1 down. But it reminds me when Frank Thomas got drafted by the Chicago White Sox, and I faced him in the Florida State League, and I'll never forget trying to throw fastballs in and breaking balls away, and every slider we threw he absolutely tattooed. And right there I remember an A-ball saying, we're not used to seeing big sluggers like this being able to hit the off-speed pitch. And then you fast forward to a Hall of Fame career. He made a living on drilling the off-speed pitches. So everybody's going to be looking at Jones. How can we try to get you out here at the big league level in spring training? And then you got to make adjustments on what they're trying to do.
Well stated, and that's the mission for every major league player. I should say professional player. He's not a major leaguer yet. Trying to make those adjustments on your way up the ladder. Jose Rojas at the plate now for the Yankees. You saw his numbers.
Quickly behind in the count, 0-2. That's been a common theme tonight. Big swing and a miss. It looked like a changeup down and away. 2 quick outs here in the 8th.
One more thing about Jones, Flash, 6'6", 235. And Reese said that people underestimate or don't really expect how much speed he has. Stole more than 40 bases in the minor leagues last year. And just a guy who has the power, has the speed. And you put all that combination together, it's a prospect worth watching.
Well, we know the Yankees have said that a bunch of other clubs wanted a piece of Jones in some of the trade talks. The Yankees not willing to give him up. As you see, Ben Rice took over behind the plate. Gets an at-bat here in the 8th. Another player they like, Ben Rice behind the plate.
How about his numbers last year at Double-A? 327, 401 on base, 648 slug. 24 years old. He can catch, but he might end up being someone who does some first base, who does play some DH. You see that he has played some first base. 20 homers in 73 games. He had the oblique strain, but I love the way Reese described him. Affectionately, he said he's goofy. Really long arms, but a really good athlete.
Graduate from Dartmouth strikes out here to end the 8th. We're going to take this one to the 9th. Saturday on Yes, Mikal Bridges and the Brooklyn Nets host the Atlanta Hawks at Barclays Center. Coverage begins at 2:30 with tip-off shortly after 3 here on Yes and the Yes app. Ninth inning from George M. Steinbrenner Field. Anthony Misevitz, new pitcher. See the numbers with the Tigers and the Yankees. Four hits for the Marlins, 2 hits for the Yankees. As Misevitz quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. Griffin Conine in his 110 games last year, AA and AAA.
The son of Jeff Conine, whose nickname was Mr. Marlin.
Mr. Marlin.
How about trying to make your impression on a major league team where your dad had already made enough of impression that he's called Mr. Marlin?
3-time All-Star in the minor leagues. Jeff Conine was an intimidating figure, Jack, when he came up to the plate. And I mean, physically he was in good shape, but he always had that poker face about him that you never knew what he was thinking. And then he'd give you a little smart comment at the plate, and it was totally against what you thought he would sound like or be like with the way he carried himself. Conine up the middle, 1 down. Well, Meredith Marakovas has our starting pitcher from tonight, Clayton Beeter.
Clayton, when I asked Aaron Boone about you before the game, he said he has a presence. He is comfortable in that room. Just what do you think about those comments? Do you feel comfortable out there?
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. I mean, I've been here for well over a month and a half now, and got the chance to slowly meet everybody, which is a lot easier than getting thrown in day one of camp. So I feel definitely very comfortable compared to what I expected.
What did you think of your stuff tonight?
I felt really good. I mean, I knew coming into the game that my fastball was feeling good, and just been talking with a lot of the guys about making sure I stick with that and just trust my stuff, and went out there and did that, which I'm happy about.
Your name has been mentioned a lot as one of these younger guys that might contribute this year. Just how close do you feel like you are to the big league?
I mean, it feels good being in this locker room with everybody. Try not to play GM or think about any of that stuff, and just try to go out there and pitch the best I can and get better every time.
In your mind, what needs to happen for you to get to the next level?
I'll just be consistent, like what I did tonight. Attack the zone, get ahead. Good results will follow that.
And you mentioned some of the guys in the clubhouse just kind of trying to blend in there. Is there any one pitcher in particular on this staff that you've tried to pick their brain a little bit or try to get some insight from?
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to Nestor a lot, trying to talk to Garrett a little bit more too. Even talking to the catchers, Trevino, Ben, they're super helpful with me too.
How do you balance trying to prove yourself to the organization here in this big league camp and also getting your work in and making sure you're ready for the season?
Yeah, I mean, they do a good job with us of making sure that we're on our own schedules, you know. We don't have to do anything extra as far as throw away more than everybody, and they make sure that we know to stick to our routines that we've had the last 3 years. And so I've just been really trying to do that and not do anything too much.
Clayton, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Send it back to you, Flash.
Thank you very much, Meredith, and thank you very much, Clayton. Congratulations on your 3 scoreless innings tonight.
Trying not to play GM. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Jacob Berry at the plate now against Misevich. Wondering where you fit in, wondering if you do enough at AAA, can you work your way into the major leagues? If the Yankees end up needing somebody in that starting rotation, can you be that person? And the Yankees have some options. Will Warren, Chase Hampton, Clayton Beeter. I think Warren would be the leader of that group of 3, but the Yankees like all 3 of them.
You know, Jack, obviously the Yankees are hoping that this situation isn't going to pop up, but all of a sudden, if you have a starting pitcher that maybe strains a hamstring, right, and he's going to miss a start or 2 at the beginning of the year, then I think you have some of those young guys that put pressure on themselves. Now, they're just trying to make an impression because they know there's not a spot in the rotation. So, takes the heat off of them, I think, a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. The Yankees do have their 5 starters assembled. We've talked about Luke Weaver, who probably looms as number 6.
Fly ball to right field from Berry. And a scoreless top of the 9th inning for the New York Yankees. Yankees trying to get a run across here in the bottom half, have a walk-off.
Think
So let's take a look at his outing tonight, Jack.
Yeah, we talked about the fastball being a big part of what he does as a pitcher, and he featured that fastball. He also has that curveball and a really strong 3 innings for him. The strikeout is a big part of his game. If he can get the command to come along with it, his ETA is 2024 for the Yankees.
There are the numbers: 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, walked 1, and struck out 4 on his 47 pitches. Ryan Hoeing back out for his 2nd inning of work, bottom of the 9th. We are scoreless as Van Meter leads off for the Yankees. Takes a good fastball on the inner half. 2 quick strikes.
You see the numbers at AAA last year with the Brewers. OPS isn't bad, but the batting average shade over 200.
3 pitches and a quick strikeout for the first out here in the bottom of the 9th. Caleb Durbin, number 87. Good numbers last year, batting average over 300, couple of home runs, 25 RBIs. And that's a hot shot to the left side. 2 down.
Always try and wonder what's a manager thinking as a game expires. And if you're Aaron Boone right now, yes, your offense was absent tonight, but what he is happy about is what we highlighted at the start of this inning. Clayton Beeter matched the scouting report that the Yankees have given about him. The ability to come in and shut hitters down.
Rumfield pops it up. It's going to be a quick inning for Brian Hoeing. 1-2-3. And we are scoreless after 9. I don't know if we're going to continue this one. Skip Schumacher. Looks like he's walking in the dugout. Aaron Boone, the same thing. So pitching dominating this one tonight. Here's our big scoreboard. 5 hits for the Marlins, only 2 for the Yankees. Ryan Weathers, very impressive, 2 2/3, 5 strikeouts. Clayton Beeter, his 3 innings, 4 Ks. Giancarlo Stanton had 1 of the hits for the Yankees, a single in the 2nd inning. Chisholm 1 for 3, a double and a stolen base. Well, that will do it from George M. Steinbrenner Field. Special thanks to our producer, Troy Benjamin, our amazing director, Luke Miller, Mike Webb, Jared Bosnack, and our executive producer is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again tomorrow as the Yankees take on the Blue Jays from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Our coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. on the Yes Network. Once again, our final score is scoreless here at Tampa, 0-0 Marlins Yankees. For Jack Curry, Meredith Marakovitz, I'm John Flaherty. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Everybody have a good evening, everybody. So long, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here on the Yes Network.